Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel today. Today's video is on filing extension, which with just a few weeks left before the deadline, you might need to do this if you haven't gotten your taxes together. I did get a few questions asking, why would I file for an extension if I have to pay estimated taxes anyways? And the deal is that usually if you need an extension, it's because you don't have enough time to gather all the documents that you need. If that's not you and you're just wondering how you can get an extension on paying your taxes, that's a totally different thing that you can set up with the IRS. So filing an extension isn't if you want a longer amount of time to pay your taxes, it's more so if you haven't gathered everything that you need to get those taxes filed. If that's you, look through this video. I'm going to show you how to file an extension through TurboTax online. Okay, like and subscribe, and let's go. I'll leave the link down below, but there is just one straight website you can go to. You could actually log in to TurboTax itself and then try to find it, but it's easier just to go to the TurboTax extension link, and I will leave that down below. Once you're logged in, and I'm logged into my testing account here, it'll say, let's get started on the federal extension. So a couple of things you need to know right off the bat. This is if you can't file by April 18th, and that's coming up in just a few days here. So this extension gives you more time to file. I'll leave all the deadlines down below as well. And remember that this only extends the time for you to file, not for you to pay your taxes. And so a lot of people are asking, well, why would I do this? I want an extension to pay the taxes. Unfortunately, you can't do that. There are a couple of options that the IRS allows for paying off your taxes. But filing an extension itself doesn't extend the time you get to pay your taxes. It only extends the filing period. And this is for anyone who needs more time to just gather the documents or make sure that all of their documents are correct. Again, I will leave everything down below for you to figure out everything. But if you're to the point where you need to file an extension because you need more time to gather documents or do whatever you need to do before actually filing, this is for you. Log into the page and then you're going to hit continue here. First, let us know if either situation applies to you. Are you a U.S. citizen or actively serving in the military outside the U.S. or Puerto Rico as of April 18th, 2022? I'm going to say no. Again, do it as it applies to you. Were you living outside the U.S. or Puerto Rico and your main place of work was outside? No, I was in the U.S. the whole time. So you're going to enter your personal info here. First, I'm going to do Becca, texting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll change it up a little bit because I think the regular one's taken. Now let's say today is my birthday, but we'll do 1992. I'm married and plan on filing jointly. Spouse's first name. I'll say he is the same. You're going to put in your mailing address. And you guys know that I'm all making this up. I had a couple people who were like really concerned about my well-being because I was getting up my address and I was like, this is not my address, but thank you. Oh, I think that they actually check it. So I'll do St. Paul. Tell us about your 2021 total taxes. So in order to get that estimated payment that you have to pay, they're going to ask you all these questions to see kind of roughly how much you're going to pay. And this is the amount you're going to pay, and then you will make up anything when you actually file your return, or possibly get a refund if you paid too much. So obviously at this point, you haven't actually filed your taxes. Some of you might already know if you went through TurboTax and you're taking that number they give you at the top. But if you don't know, just use their TaxCaster tool, which is something that I have actually walked through on my channel. So if you haven't looked at that, take a look at that. But you can go through this and kind of give yourself an estimate of, okay, I am roughly going to owe this much. So I'm just going to put a number in here. But again, this should be the estimated amount that you owe, either because you already know by using TurboTax Online or you've used the TaxCaster. So let's say that we're going to owe $3,000. I'm just putting a number in. And the taxes that we've paid, we've already paid, let's say $1,000. And this number you'll actually get from your W-2s or from your 1099s. And down here it says, what if my estimate isn't correct? And it says, hey, don't worry. If you overestimate, you'll get a refund. If you underestimate your taxes, you may have to pay a late penalty fee. when you file your actual return. The late payment penalty is 0.5% of your unpaid tax bill for every month it remains unpaid. So there is a fee. It's not huge. It's 0.5%. So unless you're owing a huge amount, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Most people in this day and age, unless you're making tons of money and you didn't pay any of your taxes, this shouldn't be that large of a fee if you do underestimate. I'm going to hit continue. And it's the same thing. It's going to say, hey, do you want all this extra stuff? If you want it, you can do it. I'm just going to hit I'll choose later. How would you like to pay for your federal taxes? Pay your estimated amount. Obviously, I put in the fact that we owe $3,000. I've only paid $1,000. The difference is $2,000. So it did the easy math for me. I have to pay this amount by April 18th to avoid interest and penalties. And so I can just choose whichever one I want to do. I can pay on the IRS website. I can pay by check or money order. And I can directly take it out of my bank account if I want to. I'm just going to walk through each of these so that you guys know what it looks like. So we're going to start with the first one. Debit it from my bank account. So to pay by direct debit, we need to check your AGI, your adjusted gross income. And it's going to ask you a few questions to get all of this. So concerning your last year's taxes, 2020, you have to say, since I put in that we're married, we did not file jointly. We did, so I'm going to leave that unchecked. What tax paperwork do you have? And on hand, I'll say that we have our 2020 tax return or IRS return receipt. If you filed your TurboTax, you should be able to pull it up. Or if you have a hard copy or someone else did it for you, you should be able to have one. Or you can say you didn't file or you didn't get your tax return or transcript. So I'm going to say this. Let's say adjusted gross income was $100,000. I always have to make sure I put enough zeros in there. Okay, continue. How much do you want to pay towards your taxes? Obviously, I owe $2,000, and unless I want that penalty fee, I want to pay at least the full amount. So let's say if you can't pay that full amount right now, just know that whatever you do pay, if there's an amount left over, you're going to be paying a fee on that 0.5% for every month that it goes unpaid. Let's say I'm a little bit scared, so I'm going to pay $2,500 because what if that's off, Or you do 2,000 or less. We'll play around with it. I'm going to hit continue. Now let's set up your payment for this extension. So this is the scheduled payment date. You get to choose a date as long as it's before or on the 18th. You put your name of your bank in here, account type and everything. And then you just hit continue and it'll go through for you. You'll get a receipt and everything. I don't have all this information. I'm not going to be putting it in. But just so you know, the routing number, the account number, you'll confirm each type. You'll hit continue. It's going to have you confirm it. And then it's going to have a receipt for you. Make sure you print that off or print it to a PDF. Save it somehow so that you have it for your records. I'm going to go back. And let's try saying I only have $500. That's all I'm going to pay. It's going to be the same thing, but it will show you that, hey, if you're only paying this much, keep in mind that you might have some fees. I'm going to go back. Second one is by check or money order. So this is the second option. If you're not going to do it directly by bank, there is the money order option, and I'm going to hit continue. You've selected to pay by check or money order. Make sure to mail this check by the 18th to avoid penalties. So they don't have to receive it by the 18th, but you need to make sure that it's postmarked, meaning when the post office gets it, it's marked that it was received by the post office on the 18th. Otherwise, you will get interest and penalties. After you review and file your extension, we'll give you instructions for paying it by check or money order. So this one just shows, hey, this is everything you put in. You're going to hit continue. You're just going to do that signature that they ask for. You're not a robot. You're going to transmit my extension, and then it'll give you information on saying, hey, this is what your check should be written out to. This is where you should mail it and mail it by this date. Last option, paying on the IRS website. You've selected to pay on the IRS website. We recommend IRS Direct Pay with bank account because it's the fastest way and easiest way to owe, plus it's free. So I'm going to continue. Same thing, you're going to transmit it, and then it'll give you instructions for that website. I'll leave that website down below as well, but they literally say, hey, we're going to show you how to pay on the website. Just make sure that you actually do it before or on the 18th. So you guys, that is how you file an extension. Again, try the Taxcaster tool. If you haven't actually walked through TurboTax itself and know from that amount that's up in the corner how much you're going to owe, the Taxcaster tool is a quick walkthrough of your taxes so that you know roughly how much you're going to owe. It's a really cool tool to use whether or not you are ready to file or if you want to know how much you might owe for next year. Keep in mind every year changes, so if you're estimating for next year already, it might be a little bit different than what it is depending on what tax laws change and which ones stay the same. But again, TurboTax Easy Extension, all laid out for you. There is also a way to file a state extension, and I will leave the links for that down below as well. We are about a week and a half out from the actual time to file, a little bit less than that. So make sure you get everything you need done. And if you are freaking out because you have not even started, go and file that extension today. Again, you have to pay before the 18th, but you get that extra time to actually sit down and gather all those documents and file. This is a big, big, big deal. Don't forget, April 18th, 2022 is the deadline. Love chatting with you guys. Leave comments down below. Give me a big thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video.